Hello students, today we are going to see a new lesson about Alexander Pope, his life and his works from Unit 5. Alexander Pope lived between 1688 to 1744. He is a poet and satirist of the English Augustan period, best known for his poem An Essay on Criticism, The Rape of the Lock, The Dunciad, and An Essay on Man. He is one of the most epigrammatic of all English authors. Pope's father, a wholesale linen merchant, retired from business in the year of his son's birth and in 1700 went to live at Benfield in Windsor Forest. The Pope were Roman Catholics, and at Benfield they came to know several neighboring Catholic families who were to play an important part in the poet's life. Pope's religion procured him some lifelong friends, notably the wealthy squire John Carl, who persuaded him to write The Rape of the Lock on an incident involving Carroll's relatives, and Martha Blount, to whom Pope addressed some of the most memorable of his poems and to whom he bequeathed most of his property. His religion also precluded him from a formal course of education. Since Catholics were not admitted to the universities, he was trained at home by a Catholic priest for a short time and attended Catholic school at Twyford near Winchester and at Hyde Park Corner, London, but he was mainly self-educated. He was a precocious boy, eagerly reading Latin, Greek, French, and Italian, which he managed to teach himself, and an incessant scribbler, turning out verse upon verse in imitation of the poet he read. The best of these early writings are the Ode on Solitude and a paraphrase of St. Thomas à Kempis, both of which he claimed to have written at age 12. Here we could see some important works of Alexander Pope. In 1711, an essay on criticism. 1712, the rape of the lock. 1713, Windsor Forest. 1715, Homer's Iliad. 1717, poems on several occasions. 1725, the works of Shakespeare collected and corrected. 1776, Homer's Odyssey. 1728, the Dunciad, an heroic poem. 1733 to 34, an essay on man. 1735, an epistle to Dr. Arbuthnot. 1738, imitation of Horace. And now we are going to see some of his works in this lesson. Essay on Criticism. An essay on criticism is a three-part poem in which Alexander Pope shares his thoughts on the proper rules and ethics of critics. Critics assail Pope's work, his background, his religion, and his physical appearance throughout his career. Pope has a lot to say in critics about their common mistakes and how they could do their jobs in such a way that intellectually supports the literary process. In Part 1, Pope explains that both critics and writers should understand the rules of poetry set forth by ancient Greek and Roman. These rules were based on the laws of nature such as balance, symmetry, and beauty without ornamentation. To truly first follow nature, writers and their critics must have good judgment and wit. While it is important for writers to stick to the rules, critics should also understand that sometimes new approaches are needed for newly developing truths. Exceptions to the rules are only made for particular intelligent, witty, and accomplished authors. Part 2 focuses on critics and lists the many ways that their criticism is ineffective and inappropriate. Some of the common mistakes include considering the part and not the whole of the work, paying attention only to rules and not to content, judging because of metaphor, imagery, style, or other less relevant qualities of poems, praising works simply because they are new, extreme, foreign, or espouse certain point of view. In part 3, the last part of an essay of criticism comes from a more positive and encouraging perspective. Pope explores what makes a great critic. The ideal qualities of critics should possess include integrity, humanity, and courage. The poem closes with an extended tribute to the ancient Greek and Roman writers, as well as English writers who Pope feels best emulate the ancients. The best critics are balanced and reflective, considering their words carefully, knowing that they make and break authors' careers. And the next work we are going to see is An Essay on Man. An Essay on Man is a philosophical essay written in heroic couplet of iambic pentameter by Alexander Pope, published in 1733 to 34. It was conceived as part of a large work that Pope never completed. The poem consists of four epistles. The first epistle surveys relations between humans and the universe. The second discusses humans as individuals. The third addresses the relationship between the individual and the society. And the fourth questions the potential of the individual for happiness. An essay on man describes the order of the universe in terms of hierarchy or chain of being. By virtue of their ability to reason, humans are placed above animals and plants in this hierarchy. And the next work we are going to see is the Dunciad. Dunciad poem by Alexander Pope, first published anonymously in three books in 1728. By 1743, when it appeared in its final form, it had grown to four books, written largely in iambic pentameter. The poem is a masterpiece of mock heroic verse. After Pope had edited the work of William Shakespeare to adapt them to 18th century taste, the scholar Lewis Theobald attacked him in Shakespeare Restored 1728. Pope responded in 1728 with the first version of his Dunciad, in which Theobald appears as Theobald favored some of the goddess of dullness, a suitable hero for what Pope considered the reign of pedantry. A year later, Pope published the Dunciad Varium in which he expanded the poem and added elaborate false footnote and appendices, errata, and prefaces, as if the Dunciad itself had fallen into the hands of an artless pedant. Both versions, which were published anonymously and much more than the vengeance of an aggrieved crank. For Pope, writing Exodus facility, wit, and verse. Pope did not formally acknowledge his authorship of the Dunciad until 1735, when he included it in a volume of his collected works. In 1742, Pope published the New Dunciad, intended as a Dunciad's fourth book. In it, the empire of the goddess of dullness has become universal. That same year, the poet laureate Coley Gilbert's Savage Pope in print. Pope responded by revising the Dunciad so as to replace Theobald with Cibber. As the work Tobias hero, the result the Dunciad is four books in 1743. It drew together in revised form. The books and critical apparatus of previous version. With this information, I conclude this lesson. Thank you.